Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Travis on Sports. I'm Travis Tyler, your host, and today we're previewing the 2022-2023 college basketball season. I'm joined today by Anthony Felli, who is the creator and host of Beat the Clock Sports Talk and the co-host of NuChannel SPorts. So Anthony, welcome to the show. Looking forward to getting
Uh,
your thoughts here.
yeah, thanks, Travis. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me on, and I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely. So let's start pretty simple. We kind of got a bunch of different sports going on at once, so everybody's, consuming what they can, I guess. So from what you've seen of the college basketball season so far, who's been the most impressive to you?
Oh, well, I, you know, it's kind of hard to tell right now with everything being so early because a lot of your power teams are,
Yeah,
are playing very low opponents. Um, I'm I'll tell you what, I'm really interested in what Duke is going to do, and I have a couple thoughts on them
okay,
a little bit later. But I think right now they piqued my interest
okay,
coming in with a new coach. And
yeah,
again, obviously playing lower level teams, but I think everybody's kind of looking to see what the post Coach K era for Duke is going to be. You
yes,
know,
yeah. I'm very interested to see what Shire does there, especially they're a team with a bunch of freshmen again this year, so I think they ended up with three of the top four freshmen in the country or something like that.
right, right.
So they always have a team like that, and you never know what you're going to get when the coaching staff changes like that from such an accomplished coach to just a guy who used to play. And you don't really know what he's going to be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's such big shoes to fill. You're talking about a legend in
Yeah,
Coach K, and in this culture of one and done. You and I talked a little bit, or I made mention of it off camera or off recording, and
yeah,
in this culture of one and dones really makes it difficult to really know what this team is going to be. Again, that's why I think coming out the gate, the way they have so far. Um, I just when we get into ACC play, I think that's going to be the where the story
right.
really starts for them. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. So, at the beginning of the season, like you said, it's a little early to tell. What are your impressions of the initial rankings or the current top 25 rankings?
I think they're right where I would expect them to be. I've looked at AP poll and coaches poll.
Okay.
Um, I I think the top five are pretty solid.
Yeah.
North Carolina, Gonzaga, Houston, Kentucky, and Baylor in the AP poll. The only difference was Kansas is number five in the coaches poll.
Uh-huh.
Um, again, I think that's fair how they
Yep.
can flip flop those two teams. Some of the surprises for me though, San Diego State ranked 17 and Dayton 21. I mean
Yeah,
that's
it's real
that,
early for that.
yeah, it's pretty early. It's pretty early for that. I mean, I haven't got a chance to dig in to those two teams very well, but when I saw that on there today and doing the post or pre-show stuff, uh, it kind of piqued my interest, and I'm kind of looking forward into digging into those two teams as this year kind of plays out and see which one of those two kind of can stay up there in the top 25 rankings.
Yeah, yeah. I think, I haven't done much research on those two either yet, but that definitely caught my eye. And I thought, back to your point about the top five or six teams, I think there's a pretty big gap between those teams and then the rest of the top 25 in terms of, expectations and who you think is going to be a contender into this season. And who can challenge for those spots going forward.
Yeah, yeah. I got a question for you. Is there
Uh,
anybody in the top five that you or top let's just say top five that you don't think should be there?
Not in the top five, I don't think. It was more around the teens, like the mid-teens that I was seeing ones that I was like, well, I can see why they're there, but I they have to prove it. Like Indiana at 12 was one to me. I think that's really high for them right now, especially Trace Jackson Davis is a tremendous player, but are the guys around him, I don't looking at the roster, I don't think it's much improved from last year's team that there's not much of a difference from last year's team. And that, they haven't really done a lot, especially when conference play hits over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
So that was
yeah.
definitely one that I was surprised by.
I can see that. How about Creighton at
Yeah,
10,
yeah, that
right?
that one too. They're another one of those mid-major teams I haven't done a lot of homework on, but at number 10, that seems extremely high for
It's
that
intriguing,
team.
right? Because
Yeah,
I'd have to go back and look how they finished last year. I mean, that's got to be why they're ranked so high. But that's really high for a mid major
they,
right
they
off the
did.
jump.
Yeah, they did land a high-scoring transfer from like South Dakota State or something that
Okay,
scores a lot. So it was one of the top few transfer guys available. So I can see him adding value there, but I don't think he takes him all the way up that far. So
right, right.
yeah,
And we're just getting started, like you said. There's gonna be a lot of
yeah,
moving pieces, I think. But this this whole list so far looks pretty solid.
yeah. Also about the top five, like I don't. It's not that I don't think they should be in the top five, but Gonzaga I thought didn't play as well as many people were expecting them to. It looks like there's like a toughness kind of urgency element missing from them.
Right. Little kind of catch them in a little bit of I guess what you would call a college rebuild.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a
so
transitioning period for them
yeah,
a little bit.
I could see that. Two is pretty high for Gonzaga. I guess that's pretty good. I mean, I'm a Kentucky Wildcat fan, so
Yeah,
I think they maybe could be at number two. But I
that's why
that's
they play
maybe
the
my
games.
that may be my bias. I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you. No,
yeah, that's why
all
they
kidding
play.
aside, though, I think the only other thing I would change in this top 25 is I would expect to see. I mean, I'll talk a little bit more about
Uh,
Arkansas, but I would have expected to see Arkansas higher. I'm kind of
yeah,
shocked
I
they
would
have
agree with
them
that.
around the
Yeah,
9-10 rank, but um, yeah,
especially the way they finished the season last year, I thought they would
yeah.
be a lot higher.
If you're gonna put Creighton at number 10, I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
all right,
I mean, we'll see how it plays out. Creighton kind of had a reputation as mid-major. They're not really mid-major anymore. Are there any mid-major teams you're looking out for this year?
yeah. So mid major, yeah. I really like San Diego State.
Okay.
San Diego State is a team um, coming out of last year. Uh, you know, obviously they're going to play weaker teams. Man, I had some stuff pull up on by, but the other one is UAB.
Okay.
UAB always seems.
That's an interesting one.
I think they're two teams that if they can get into the tournament in March, that they can make a lot of noise in the
Okay.
tournament. I think they're definitely Cinderella capable for
Okay.
sure.
And what like sets them ahead of everybody else over there?
Let's see, Jordan Walker. Um,
Uh-huh.
I think he great player. They got LSU's transfer Eric Gaines,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about him.
which I
Yeah.
think that yeah, I think a lot of teams are going to be helped by some of those LSU transfers after that program completely fell apart last year. Uh, you know, Javion Davis from Mississippi State. I mean, I think this just rounds out UAB. They've got some, these two transfers are guys that have played in power
Uh-huh.
conferences, and I think that helps get them
Yeah.
into a level of competition. I mean, Trey
Right.
Jameson, at 7.4 rebounds a game. KJ Buffin, 10 points, 6.8
Yeah.
rebounds. They got UAB especially has some pieces that
Yeah.
that'll keep them competing.
Okay. Yeah. I think also I put Eastern Michigan on here just with the Amani Bates edition. And they have that I forget the dude's name, the other guy in the backcourt with them. They both went off against Michigan the other day, almost pulled off that upset. Um, And then I think Davidson had a coaching change, but they always have a pretty good program, and they got some shooters on that team right now. So thought those were a couple of them that could do it. And I guess I've seen a lot of people talking about UC Irvine. I haven't done any research into them yet, but
I don't know anything
they've been
about
out.
them.
Yeah, yeah, they've been. I've seen a lot of buzz about them for the past couple days. Maybe it's just a sports betting thing, but uh,
Right.
supposedly UC Irvine's got a pretty solid team. All right, so let's get into some kind of predictions around here. Who Let's stick with the top power conferences. Who are your conference champions that you have over there?
So I gotta go with Kentucky.
Uh-huh.
Um, I have to, right? That's my team. Uh, I think Kentucky out of the SEC. Um, I like North Carolina come out of the ACC. Although, um, you know, gotta watch a team like Georgia Tech late in the year. They're always a competitive team. Um, Big 12 conference. Uh,
That's going to be really
that's
deep this year.
that's yeah. You know right now it would be really easy to go a team like Baylor,
Hmm.
but I think I'm gonna go with the unpopular opinion here, and I'm gonna take Oklahoma to
Wow.
come out of the
Okay.
Big 12. Yeah, yeah, I think
That's a
there's enough.
bold pick.
I think there's enough parity in the league where much like SEC football, I think that these teams are going to kind of knock each
Yeah.
other knock
Yeah.
each other out. Um, I'll take Oklahoma out of the Big 12. Uh, Big East, Villanova.
Okay. Wow. They're off to a rough start, but
Yeah, yeah, they're 2-1, but there's a lot of
yeah.
basketball. See, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing about NCAA basketball as opposed to NCAA football, right? I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
because it's so tournament based, right?
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you just have to get to a point where you get into your conference tournament, and then wherever the chips fall, they fall. Where in football is just aligned much like professional sports, where it's seeding based, and
Yeah.
you get one championship out of your best two teams in each side of the conference, at the end of the season. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about college basketball, in my opinion, is it's very tournament and bracket based,
Okay.
and it allows for a lot of parity. Like
Yeah.
I think that's the love that people have for the sport is that at any given time, some Cinderella team, whether it be a conference Cinderella or a March Madness Cinderella, uh, there's just so much excitement over those types of
Right.
happenings, those
Right.
programs. So it seems like bold claims now to pick a team like Villanova in the Big East, but I think in a very bracket centric type of system that is college basketball, I think that there's lots of basketball for them to improve, and they're always a tough team come later in the season. I can see them pulling it out. I mean,
Uh,
who they got? They got Georgetown, UConn, who's they're decimated, and Creighton.
yeah.
You
I
know,
I think Providence could be a factor there too. They're always
Pro-
in
yeah, Providence
in
pretty
the
tough
hunt,
too.
especially
Yeah,
after I think last year was their best season since like the '70s or something like that. So
I
they're
can
they're
see that.
looking to build off of that.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Big Ten. Um, this is a tough one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Who do you have out of the Big
I
Ten?
to me, the most complete roster I saw there was Illinois, but I'm not totally comfortable with the pick. It's just
Again, it's
yeah.
yeah,
It's
in a
it's another
bracket
one.
centric.
It's weird because there's not many ranked teams in there right now, but there are a ton that could be by the end of the season.
Absolutely, that's a strong conference.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm gonna take I'm gonna take Indiana.
Okay. See, I've expressed my doubts about them a few minutes ago, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's they're ranked 12th. They might as well go for
yeah.
the highest ranked Big Ten team if you're not sure.
I mean, that's right. You play the odds there. I think if there was a surprise in that conference, maybe a team like Wisconsin.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think not that they're really going to win it, but I think Penn State's a lot better than a lot of people realize.
yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
that's
they
going to be a
could play.
challenging game.
I think Penn State's a good team to play spoiler in that
Yeah,
conference. I think
yeah,
they'll beat. I think they'll beat a lot of contenders
but they're
and
not a
and
contender
and,
themselves.
yeah,
Yeah,
right. And in their conference, they're going to end somebody's or maybe a couple teams'
yeah,
conference title hopes for sure.
yeah. I agree with that. Let's. Did we hit all the conferences there? Sorry, I don't want to. Oh, Pac-12. That's the last one we got left.
Oh, Pac-12. Ooh. That's a tough one because
Hmm.
again, they don't have a lot of ranked teams either. But
Yeah,
by the end of this,
I mean
they could have a
UCLA is
bunch.
damn good.
I, I agree. I agree. And again, UCLA is going to come up later
Uh,
uh, in the prediction part of this for me. No spoilers. Spoiler alert, everybody. Yeah, I think UCLA in a much closer than anticipated uh, uh, battle. I think they come out of the Pac-12.
okay,
Yeah.
let's go into some of the players you're watching across the country right now. Who do you see as the top guys to pay attention to as the season starting?
Well, I'd be honest with you. I'm not rotating everybody on the Kentucky Wildcat roster,
Yeah,
right? But Imoni Bates to me
yeah,
is I think everybody's watching Imoni Bates. I think anybody who's anybody. Um, it's a shame because who's the kid? Who is he? Right now, the NBA is going crazy over
yeah.
him.
Oh,
It's a
the really tall guy. Is that who you're thinking of?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
Victor or something. I don't remember what his last name is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
women Bay or something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
It's a shame he's not playing in college because I think it would be fun to
He'd be
see him
fun to
against
watch. Yeah,
against higher level competition than what he's playing
right.
right now. So I have a friend from Greece. He's been on my podcast a couple times, and I was just messaging him on Facebook, and we are talking about that, and that was one of his knocks, and he very valid points that that kid's playing next to nobody right
Yeah,
now on the overseas market. It'd be really fun to see somebody like that in a college football
yeah, it
setting.
would.
But I think Imoni Bates for me though is going to be the player that I'll be paying attention to this year for a lot of
Yeah,
reasons because I think he'll probably declare for the draft after this year.
yeah, yeah. He's a great player. Hasn't really panned out so far, but he had a really good opener so
Yeah,
far this year for Eastern or for Eastern Michigan. I'm looking at a couple guys. I mean, the obvious answers are Sheboy, Timmy, Baycott, guys like that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I think Marcus Sasser for Houston coming back off that injury. Once he went out last year, that was a completely different Houston team. And he could potentially be their leading scorer this year, and he's a pretty solid defensive guard too. And then back up in Michigan, Antoine Davis from Detroit. He averages over 23 points a game for his career, closing in on 3,000 points for his entire career.
Oh,
So
oh,
he's
okay.
just a crazy scoring guy playing for his dad over there at Detroit. So I think he doesn't get a lot of love because of where he plays, but he's an elite player.
Oh, you just gave me two players to watch. So I think I'm gonna trust your judgment on that. And Houston, I mean, they're third. I don't think that holds. I think by the time this is all said and done, they may be down here in the teens. But there's a lot of hype to play for a team that's third in the rankings.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Um,
That's some lofty expectations
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Anthony, we've talked about some contending teams. Who are some people that could be spoiler sleeper teams this year?
So I really have one that stands out, and
Hmm.
it's going to be Xavier.
I had them written
Um,
down too.
yeah, I mean they won the NIT tournament last year. Um, you know, they were seventh in the Big East, but I think that young team. Obviously, a lot of them are young anymore, but young
Yeah.
team. I think that winning an NIT, just winning a tournament like that, uh, helps build some foundation. So
Yes.
that's a team that I think is people are falling asleep on that could very well make the March Madness tournament and really create some havoc early on in that
Yeah.
tournament. I don't think they can win. That is not a Cinderella pick,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I do think coming off of what they did last year, um, getting a taste of winning college basketball at a pretty high
Yeah.
level, I think they get over the hump and get into the March Madness tournament.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I think, looking at Xavier, I think their big guys are really where their team thrives this year. Is how far they can go is really going to depend on how well their guards play because a lot of their guards and their wing players from last year's team aren't coming back. So they're really gonna
Yeah.
have to. So going along with that sleeper thing, once we get to March, who are some teams that could be potential Cinderellas in the tournament?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're ranked. They're ranked now, and what if San Diego State holds up and proves not only that they deserve to start out ranked, but again, once you get in that bracket, a bounce of a ball, a whistle in your
Yeah,
favor. I mean, I think it would just be a really fun story for a team like San Diego State to come in. They're going to have a ton of doubters. There's going to be a lot of people saying they don't deserve to be there. To come out and play some high ranked teams because they're going to have some pretty poor seeding, and and just really threaten to win it all. I'd love to
yeah,
see that for San Diego State.
yeah. So you think? I mean, we've both said there we haven't done a ton of research on them, but you think they're a team that could make it to the final weekend in March?
I would just I'm going to go on record to say that yes, even though we said we haven't looked in, and I admittedly so haven't looked at them, they are ranked for some reason, right? There's got to
Okay.
be something, and I'm going to dig and find out what that reason, what that
Yeah.
reason might be. But I just think it would be a great story, like looking at who's in that top 25 now. If there was anybody in that top 25 as it stands, I think that would be the most intriguing pick as a
Okay.
Cinderella to make a Cinderella run. I mean, again, they're gonna go through this whole year with everybody saying they don't deserve to be there until they prove it, right? So what better way
Yeah.
to prove it? But you get in that tournament and and you just gotta. That's the only way you can do it. That's the proving
Yeah.
ground, right? So
Gotcha.
yeah, I'll stand by that. Thank you for bringing that up, but I'll stand by San Diego. And there's a little love to my Southern California people out there because that's where I'm originally from.
Okay.
So I'm very impressed that they're ranked. And now go there. Who's yours? Who's your
I mean, not in terms of like a team that can actually win it, but a team that could maybe potentially win a couple games just as a lower seed. You kind of sold me on the UAB experience earlier with
okay?
the SEC experienced players. They've at least played in a tough conference, and they've got the talent to go in there. And UAB's had some talented teams in the past, so I guess that's one I'll throw out there for now.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I think they would be my if I didn't have some ties to San Diego, that might be my pick too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
fair.
mean, for
I
some
think
reason
they're.
they're always a team I like to see do well for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
No
there's
affiliations or whatever. It's just well,
right.
UAB's
Well,
here. Yeah.
yeah, they have some things like that, right? Because like Georgetown again, they're ranked high this year, but all the years that they weren't ranked very high, once you get into the 64 team bracket, or was it like 68 now, right? I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't even know anymore.
yeah,
But once you get into that March Madness tournament, like you always know Georgetown, doesn't matter what they're seated, they're going to cause some havoc. And you
right.
just want to see them win, right? Like Georgetown's one of those teams. There's a few of them. There's a few teams like that, like Vandy. Like I want to see
Yeah,
Vandy do well in a tournament, like you know. So I
yeah.
get it,
I haven't looked at that roster, but they've had some good years every now and then too. It seems like they're
right?
due for one.
Right, definitely, definitely.
All right, so let's jump to some more of the more talk about the elite teams. Who do you have in your final four this season?
All right, my final four.
Early
Yeah,
prediction,
it's
obviously.
way too
Yeah,
early,
yeah,
but
exactly.
but my it is pretty vanilla. Okay, so anybody out there listening, uh, listen. I do an NBA show. Okay, so so bear with me here because but I mean I think that if I was a betting man, I think that this would be a safe route to go, and I've got Kentucky, Kansas, Arizona, and UCLA. Now
Okay.
that's if they don't end up having to play each other somewhere in the bracket, right? But that Final Four intrigues me. It's
Yeah.
strong. It's traditional. Um, yeah, and I think that for any bettors out there, that may be a safe bet uh, for early props.
Yeah, yeah. I no, I like that. I had Can I've had a hard time differentiating between Kansas and Baylor, but I have one of them getting in there. Um, and then I had uh North Carolina based on how they finished last year and where they are this year. Um,
Okay.
then we mentioned Arkansas, how you like that. I like them to have Final Four potential this year, so I put them there. And then I think the last one I went with, and I keep going. This just sounds like it's a little biased, but I think there's going to be a Big Ten team in there. That's what
Okay.
I threw in with the last one. But there were a bunch of teams that I was struggling with. It's so early in the season. I can definitely see a few of them go fitting in there,
Yeah. Yeah.
subbing over them. But a lot of that was based off of how teams closed last season. So,
Okay. That's
North Carolina runner up, Kansas
yes.
champion, Arkansas, what, Elite Eight, Sweet 16, something like
Arkansas
that. Yeah.
Arkansas went ham at the end of
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
I was in
Yeah.
Arkansas for the tournament last year, all the way through the SEC tournament, and they just out of nowhere, right, just start knocking people out, just boom,
Yeah.
boom. Again, but all viable. We didn't talk about it, but
Uh,
I think that if I had to pick two overrated teams, I'm sorry, but I think Arkansas is one of them. I
yeah,
think
I can see that.
I think they could be a dangerous team, but I think they're resting on their laurels from last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
And then Duke. Like you didn't
Yeah.
have them in your Final Four. A lot of people will though, especially diehard Duke fans. But I really think like they're going to struggle, in re-identifying with culture. And
Yeah.
they're a team ranked at what, number 7 right now, and I
Yeah.
think it's just based on their
Yeah.
prestige and not anything else, right?
Yeah.
Because if it,
And that's exactly why they weren't in my Final Four.
right,
The new coach got to prove it, basically.
right, right, and it's such a tough conference, and this isn't college football, right? Because this is
Right.
college football. You have a major change like that, a legendary coach, like they're going to they're going to move you out of there. Look what happened to LSU this
Yeah.
year in college
Yeah.
football, and what a run that's been,
Yeah.
but for them to be ranked so high after having that kind of change, it just tells you they're graciously put there based on past merit, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, everybody out there who has Duke in your Final Four. Travis and I do not agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, but I don't mind your Final Four picks. Yeah, it's still way too early. I think maybe
Yeah.
hopefully we have a chance to revisit this because it'd be interesting how this plays out for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Real quickly, since we're running out of time, we've only got a few seconds here.
Yeah,
Um,
no worries.
give me championship pick and uh, where my audience can find more from you.
All right, I got Kentucky winning the championship. That is way biased, but I got to do it right. Kentucky Wildcats all the way. You can find Beat the Clock Sports Talk on every major podcast platform and NuChannel Sports as well. Check out Twitter, uh, Instagram, beattheclocksportstalk.com. And yeah, that's